Hi, welcome to another episode of Brand Decoded Show. Tonight I want to talk about one simple activity that will undoubtedly, if you open your mind to it, will more than double your income. And I have personal anecdote of me utilizing this daily practice in order to increase my own wealth, but also I want to describe in a very practical, scientific way why this daily practice works for some people and why it doesn't work for others. So the first step, if you want to increase your own wealth beyond measure, is to open your mind to what I have to say tonight. The daily practice that I'm talking about is affirmations. And in order for you to understand the context of how I'm observing affirmations, I have to start with my family. I have to mention that both of my parents are academics and very high profile of natural sciences like physics and chemistry in particular, being that both of them are pharmacists. So through my entire life, I've been observing world through the lens of science. Everything had to be within the confinements of the law of the universe. And that law is always personified in some kind of a formula, and everything needs to fit inside of this formula. Like the speed, the acceleration, the gravity, the electricity. And human mind doesn't exactly operate as a formula. It has feelings. And these feelings are felt from one person to another. We can sense these feelings. Not everything is logic. Contrary to Alex Hormozis of the world that see everything as a binary input-output of the life in general, human beings aren't wired to be machines. Most of us aren't. And we process reality in a very emotional way. So the feelings that we have and how we feel are determining our outcomes. So oftentimes you'll see poor people buying an iPhone because it makes them feel good. It increases their frequency. Is the one thing that makes them feel not poor. Because feeling poor is diminishing your frequency. So you'll have that one artifact that's making you feel, I have something. I'm not the last person in the world. And everyone else has the same thing. So I'm just using that as an example. But to get back to how affirmations impact individuals and how they've impacted me, I'll have that part of the story, but I want to explain where the feelings play a massive role in the wealth generation, in the way that you're generating money. Who benefits the most from affirmations? And I would say, if you're a salesperson watching this, I'm pretty sure that you've talked about manifestation, even though, like, for example, I personally still, to this day, I'm not like a very big believer of instantaneous manifestation or something of that nature. But salespeople, they don't have a natural, logical explanation as to why things happen when they are selling. Some things just happen to them, and they attribute that to how they felt. The thing is, there is a connection between how you feel and the sales that you generate. And as someone who has done 3,000 sales calls, I would say, I can attest that your internal well-being and how you're feeling is directly felt by a person that's sitting across you, even on a Zoom. They can sense how you feel internally, and they are using that feeling about you as a judgment on whether they want to buy something from you or not. So when you're sizing someone up, their body and their mind and their eyes are actually a radar. And they scan your internal well-being, and when they feel that you are the real deal, that is when they're making a purchasing decision. So we can see a direct correlation between your internal well-being, like how you feel in the moment, and your income. I hope this is like starting to give you some insights into how affirmations can impact your internal well-being. And then when your internal well-being is in a good place, then it attracts more good things into your life. So if you're coming to work upbeat, positive, with lots of positive energy, lots of optimism, that is going to attract more buyers. So salespeople are the ones that benefit the most from having their internal well-being stabilized. So now we're getting somewhere. I hope now that affirmations and their impact on your psychology could lead you to a higher income, especially if you're in sales. But even if you're not in sales, I can give you some radical, rational explanations as to why they will work even in other professions like marketing, which is another thing that I have been practicing for a very long time, and how they correlate. So, how the affirmations affect me personally? I'm not affirming stuff in front of the mirror. I'm not that kind of a guy about the affirmations. I simply I will link in the show notes two of my favorite affirmation YouTube scenes. They're like 3-4 hours long, so you could just like blast them into the headphones. They have this ambient sound music in the background, and when I listen to them, they lower my blood pressure. And I've noticed that. I even measured it, and maybe it's the music, I can't really say, but it has, like, given that I'm a very emotional being, I tend to tune into the frequency really easily. So music has a very strong impact on me when I'm listening to it. So I'm very mindful as to what I'm listening, because I consider listening my internal programming, right? So I've been very mindful how I'm programming my mind through the music. So when the affirmations arrived, it was like a blessing, because I could choose the words that I'm putting to my mind on repeat, and also choose the tune that is reducing my blood pressure. So I'm typically a very high-strung individual, and I like to control the outcomes, and sometimes it like gets the best of me, or the worst of me, and pushes me into like a negative spiral of emotions, and I have to counteract that. So people that are focused mostly on doing, they're like kind of like flatline. If you're like comparing, I'm like a polar opposite of Alex Hormozi, and I know myself, so I can't go that flatline the whole day, and I'm just working, and I'm like making my life how I want it to be, and I'm like working 14, 16 hours days, which I do. Like, don't get me wrong, I work too much, but I'm not of that mindset that I can produce consistently at the same rate. Like, there are fluctuations, and I'm starting to become mindful that the output of time that you're putting into your business is not going to be proportionate. So most people that are working 12 plus hour days, they're getting massive diminishing returns, unless they have like a flatline emotional personality type that just like doesn't get affected. And given that I've been doing a lot of sales calls in the past, something that I'm trying to diminish because it's not scalable, I've focused on these affirmations as a way to improve my thoughts. And if I'm doing less sales calls, my energy for those sales calls need to be the best one. So listening to these affirmations has created twofold input on me. One is like lowering the blood pressure, making me feel more calm, more at ease, more zen-like. And the other part is, thoughts are a zero-sum game. Your conscious thoughts are a zero-sum game. And what I mean by that, for every positive thought that occupies your conscious mind, you have one less negative thought to occupy your conscious mind. That means that you're essentially cleaning your mind from crap. And that is the impact of affirmations. Like, if you come to think about it, why does Alex Hormozi promote so much work? So that you can't have negative thoughts. It's the same output uh, as the person that's listening to the affirmations. However, not everyone can handle massive amounts of people on the call, right? And selling all the time, which is what he preached, in at least like in a bunch of his content, including like a couple of his books, that like you become a machine and you just like start selling. Like he was selling gym memberships or whatnot to people that didn't know better. And he would do that 12-hour days. Like when you process that amount of people, you become desanitized. Like you stop reacting to the way people react. It just becomes like a binary input output. But most people, they don't have that kind of a personality type. And I can't blame them. Not everyone is born to process massive magnitudes of sales calls. I know, like in the height of alpha efficiency, I was able to do 6-7 phone calls per day with prospective customers. Like when it was needed, I did it. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but I would feel so emotionally drained after such a day because I would have to spend like 10 hours per day on the phone calls all the time, like moving minds, shifting minds, like convincing customers, convincing employees, and aligning the needs of the business and predicting the needs of their business, of my business, and making like a big alignment across the bigger chessboard, right? And affirmations, in hindsight, like I started listening to them probably around 2022, and from 2022 to 2023, my income more than doubled in 1 year. And I was making a lot. So when you go from a lot to double of a lot, it's a lot. And it shattered a lot of beliefs that I had about money and put me in 2024 on a drawing board and starting to think like, okay, like you're missing the picture over here. Why are you missing this? How do you fix these issues? And it changed my mind from doer to a problem solver, and also having a mindset of identifying which problem needs to be solved first so you can advance to the next level. And since then, everything changed. And the primary reason why I've managed to calm my mind and kind of get off the emotional roller coaster of being in the grind, which is the grind is conditioning from a society that's pushing you towards work. And I'm gonna go back to the Hormozi one more time. Why is he promoting the grind so much? And I'll give you a reveal, because a lot of people, they don't have this connection about the patterns. And in one of his episodes, he was talking about his acquisition deals. And he was complaining that he acquires a lot of businesses, like he takes a part ownership position in another person's business for consulting, or like giving them a cash capital, injecting systems into their company. And what happens is that they get the business owner to 10 mil liquid net worth, like 10 million or more, which is 8-figure net worth is amazing. Like you stop having most of the needs about work at that rate. You start realizing there's more to life than just working. All right. And he starts complaining, like, why are these people not grinding? Because people that he partook with into these business ventures, they don't have the same goals. And it's okay. Like, so his prospecting top of funnel, he managed to attract these people where he feels like he gave them too much and they ended up going golfing somewhere else. But if you see, all of his content is conditioning you to work hard so that once you come to his funnel and he wants to partake in your business, that you still keep grinding. It becomes a part of your identity that benefits his ultimate goal, right? Like, it's just a part, it's a Hormozi survival engine, and he's building content assets that are reproducing him in perpetuity, right? Because he wants to become a billionaire through grind and through feeling coerced from the archetype image of his father telling him you're not good enough, and him needing to prove himself that he's good enough by becoming a billionaire, right? It's like paper napkin psychology, not the Carl Jung or Freud, but like I'm just seeing that from what he said, and I'm collecting the picture, like all this content of constant hustle, and you hustle and create value without caring for yourself and your emotional well-being and being able to see the leverage is actually harmful. And why is it harmful? Because there's plenty of people that are working 12, 14, 16-hour days and they're always poor. And the reason why they're always poor is the belief system and inability to create leverage. And the best leverage out there on the internet right now is happening through the content, like the video that you're watching right now, or through pattern recognition. Like you're recognizing the patterns in the system, coming to conclusions, and getting yourself excused from the equation of labor. So you can buy back your time. And when you buy back your time, most will say, well, you just bought back your time, like, so put more time back into the work. If you are focused on being a creative person, you want to work less and produce more. So you need to let your thinking mind rest. And that's where the affirmations have been helping me, because they calm me down. Like, hey, have some faith in yourself. You're actually gonna make it. You're actually gonna do it. And that, my friends, is how affirmations did have a direct impact. There were many other things, like investments into coaching, investments into my own education, putting massive amounts of time into sales calls previously that I became a salesperson that can achieve such a result. At one point, like, I'm just like, if I keep doing this, it's just not sustainable. Like this does not look like a life that I want to live, like grinding nonstop, so I had to zoom out from the position of constantly being in the business to a position where I can observe my business as a separate entity from me, something that I'm building, right? And something that needs to create itself so it becomes its own sculptor. Not as a man, me sculpting myself, but my business becoming its own sculptor and sculpting itself. And to create something like that, it requires a lot of emotional maturity that requires you to be present, right? Sometimes I feel like I'm a parent to my employees because they don't know. So I have to teach them how to think in certain ways, how to react in certain ways. And even though it might sound patronizing, if they were smarter than me, they would not be working for me. So like you have to think about that from that perspective. No offense to any of them. They're super smart individuals, smarter than employees of many other companies. And it's my job to get that entire entity to a higher level. And if I don't have enough time to think, like, I'm always going to be stuck in a hustle mode that only benefits somebody else. And that, my friends, is how you utilize affirmations to blow up your business. You use them to lower your blood pressure, to start seeing patterns around you, to stop doing things that are not making you money. Experiment, test things out. Let me know how it went in the comments. And for the show notes, you'll have plenty of stuff in there. I am running a promo. It's Black Friday. I should have run this on a beginning of the episode, but if you watch by now, you're probably one of the rare few. I'm grateful for you, but I'm running a rare Black Friday promo. If you want to learn how to sell, and if you want to learn a marketable skill of building websites that has 4 skills within it: SEO, copywriting, graphic design, and low code environment that will help you combine these 4 actually skills into a marketable skill that you can sell. I am combining the profitable websites from scratch and infinite deals bundled for half the price. The deal will be open until Cyber Monday, and it will be $175 and you will be able to add on some extra bonuses in there. So that will be in the show notes. Glad you tuned in the show, and let me know how you enjoyed the affirmations. They will be in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure having you as the audience. Have a great night.